trigger us so much? Why do we get offended at other people? Why do we project our emotions onto somebody else and make them feel bad? Where does it stem from? So I talk a lot about the subconscious mind, which is basically this big storage unit, right? We have in our brain, and it stores all of our past memories and belief systems and these structures that we develop from a very young age throughout our adolescence, stuff like that. So when we become older and we don't recognize certain things in this storage unit that keep popping up, these pattern systems, patterns that keep popping up, and we don't recognize them as a negative thing or something that limits us, then it becomes our reality to just project things on other people without even realizing it. So let's break it down a little bit further. So if you had something you went through when you were a child, it could be a small thing, could be maybe you had insecurities, you were made fun of, or maybe your mother was neglectful or very controlling, or you had a lot of fear instilled in you as a child. This carries over into adult life if you don't process it, or if you don't recognize it as being an issue that's affecting you or affecting your ability with other people, communicating with other people. So what happens is we develop these, I'll say, false belief systems in life. Because really, everybody, anything that you believe about yourself, about other people, about the world, it's an illusion. It's an illusion that you create based off of your past belief systems. Just like somebody else may think a very different way because they had different belief systems, either growing up, or maybe they had a different set of belief systems growing up, but then they changed them over time, or they worked to change them because they realized that they were hurting them more than helping them. Hurting more than helping, right? So that is why we get triggered by stuff, because some things are so ingrained within us and we just react. We live in a world where we react to a lot of things because we disagree with them. So learning to accept the unaccepted is a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing because it's going back years and years and years and years and years of stuff, unresolved trauma. So everybody has a form of PTSD within them. It's not just some labeled thing, okay, this person has PTSD because they've been in war, or they were sexually abused, or blah, blah, blah. We all have some form of PTSD because we're human. So we all endured some sort of trauma, some obviously more serious than others. But even something like when you were, say you're in second grade and you were made fun of, or somebody said something to you, and what it did, it brought up a heightened state of emotion within you. Therefore, that basically put a stamp on it in your head, and you keep repeating the pattern, you keep remembering, your brain keeps remembering that even if you're 35 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. Because you haven't recognized that that is where your insecurity stems from. That's where your fear stems from. So it doesn't have to be always that, well, I can't possibly have any PTSD, or I can't have any sort of issues. My belief systems cannot be false because I didn't endure huge amounts of trauma, what society views as huge amounts of trauma. Oftentimes it's little things, okay? Little things. Maybe our parents told us something or criticized us once, or neglected to give us recognition in some form, and we were a sensitive soul and we thought that was a really big deal, whereas somebody else may not. So it's all about the state of emotion at the time when that experience is happening, whether it's going to create some sort of belief within you, or pattern within you. And if it keeps happening over and over again, then obviously it gets more ingrained in you. So think about things in your life that you're reacting to. Things in your life that you're not accepting, either society or certain people, or just anything that you face that's not within your belief system. What does that tell you about yourself? Are there things that are unresolved within you? Because usually it is a form of fear. So any sort of control, whenever you're trying to control a situation or control people or control other people's belief systems, getting them to think the way that you think is based on fear. Because it's based on what is control. It's trying to make something safe for you, make something secure. Because when you don't feel in control of a person or a situation, you don't feel safe. It's like tearing down that protective barrier you have. So, there's a lot of people out there who have very regimented routines or rigid ideas about things and don't accept other people for who they are, even though that person may don't see things in the same way, or see things in a lighter way than maybe you see them. It's all about belief systems, about structures. It's about what sort of repressed emotions are you not dealing with. Because every time you project onto somebody else, anytime you judge somebody else, what is it? It's a projection of how you're feeling inside. Life is a mirror. I always say this, life is a mirror. It works like a mirror. So what you're putting out is what you're getting back. What you're seeing in the mirror, the reflection you're seeing, is a reflection of your internal state, how you're feeling, how you're thinking. Because essentially everything, it's illusionary. What you're seeing is our brain is creating this image and our senses are picking up on things. But it's not actually real. It's that we think it's real. Our brain thinks it's real. We think something's a solid object. We think that this is a solid object, right? But no, it's just vibrating energy, right? Frequencies. And, same with things we can't see, different dimensions or even sound, right? Sound, what is it? It's a vibration. It's not actually a thing, like we don't actually hear, but our ears, our body takes these vibrations and it turns it into what we perceive as noise, as sound. So, I don't mean to put any blame on anybody, but I mean to expand. I want you to expand how you're thinking about things and how perspective and perception is very different thing for a lot of people. And beliefs are very different for a lot of people. So there's not one way or one thing to believe. Look at religion. Everybody's always fighting because I believe this, you believe that, blah, blah, blah. It all kind of boils down to the same thing, in my opinion. You just put different labels on gods and stuff like that, whether they call it God, universe, source, whatever. But we have this very rigid mentality where my way or the highway, right? My way or the highway. But just think the next time you're judging somebody, that person probably has very different belief systems. They grew up with very different belief systems, or they've allowed themselves the freedom to be more open to more things in life. They don't want to live under the constraints of what somebody tells them to live. They don't want to live for somebody else. That is what I'm getting at. So when you are living for somebody else, you could be living for your parents still, even if they've passed away 20 years ago. You could still have those belief systems, those structures in place that keep repeating the same patterns over and over and over again. So you're always living trying to please your parents, even if they're not on the physical earth anymore. Or you're always trying to please other people. Friends, please your superiors, right? People pleasing. And there's nothing wrong with doing that to a certain degree. But if it becomes where you can't live your life in alignment to who you naturally are, what you want to do in this world, then that becomes an issue. When you're putting other people before you, and it's not selfish, because this is your life. This is your life. This is your illusion. This is your reality. So whenever you're giving control to other people, you're not living as you. You're living for somebody else. And whenever you live for somebody else, you're not you. So what I want to say is, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to live as you. Don't be afraid to tap into things that you truly want. Don't be afraid to take an axe to those old belief systems, the old ways of thinking that have never made you happy, have never made you fulfilled, and learn to live a new way. Not everybody's going to understand it, but it's going to make you happier. It's going to make you more fulfilled. It's going to make you more authentic and on your path and your purpose in life. Because essentially that's why we're all here, is because we're put here for a reason. To learn a lesson, or many lessons in that case, to serve a purpose. Not to just eat, breathe, sleep, die, live for other people. There's no point in that case, right? So live with purpose, live with passion. Recognize the things that limit you, that hold you back, that instill fear, those things you're still trying to control in your life, or controlling other people, or judging other people. You have to learn to recognize it when you're judging other people, because it's like you standing in the mirror telling yourself those very same things, or telling yourself what you are lacking inside, or telling yourself that you don't feel safe. That you don't feel safe and you need to try and control it, which is an illusion in itself, because you cannot control other people. You can't. So, on that note, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.